Welcome to my channel. My name is Brian and you're watching The Builder Place. In this video we are going to be replacing the bushings on both front wheels, the steer axles on my Cub Cadet tractor. Let's go to work. Bring it up. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can see it. I'm probably need to move the camera angle a little bit, but this thing's got a tremendous amount of wobble. Looking at this thing in front view, you can see it's got tons of play. So this one definitely needs a lot of work. So let's get this one taken apart first, since it's the worst one, and then we'll go over to the right after we get this one taken care of. To get started taking this apart, we're going to take these cotter pin out. I brought two different pliers here, see which one will work the best. Sometimes these things come out easy, other times they don't. So we'll just press that, see if it comes out. If it don't come out real easy, which is not, I'll just tap it a little bit with this rawhide mallet. Cotter key is out, this special washer, and well, we left the part of the inner bushing is just kind of laid in there. It's greasy and nasty. And the other outer bushing seems like it's going to stay there, so we'll have to pry that one out. But I need to also inspect this spindle and see what it looks like. I feel a terrible groove on there. You're not going to be able to see. I'm going to have to change the camera angle again, but there's a terrible groove all on this bottom. This is grooved on the top. So let me turn the camera around a little bit. I took the camera off the mount so that you can kind of get an idea what it looks like. Once I get this off, I'll show it to you. But we're going to need a new front steering axle for sure. So let me go see if I can find something to replace that, at least on this side. I'll double check the other side, but let me look at this one first. The other side doesn't seem that bad. I found the part number for this steering axle. This is the left-hand side, and the manufacturer has discontinued making this part. I got two choices. I can scrap this thing, or I could put the bushings back in and just let them eat on this shaft a little bit and wobble. But what I think I'm going to do is this is my plan right now. So hopefully I got the right idea. I'm going to make this part, but I'm going to cut here. So the replacement part of it will be from here down to here. I'll keep all the rest of this stuff up here, so I don't have to remake all that part. So I'm going to splice in another section of axle. So I'm going to need to make this thick washer, and I'm going to need to make this bend, and it's not quite a 90, so hopefully I can get it pretty close, or I think I can get it pretty close. I have a bender that I'm going to set up to do that bend. Well, let's go to work and take this off. This shouldn't be that hard to take off. It's probably just this, loosen up this, and it should just fall right off. Yep, fell right off. Got a little spacer there. I'll put that up over here out of the way. And it's got grease all over that, so we'll clean that grease off. And our next step, I guess, will be, well, I got to fixture this into something first so that I know I'm going to hold it the same exact place. So I'm going to need to make a fixture to hold this part in. And then when I make the new part, this part will lay in that fixture to hold it in the right location, because it's going to be a weld here, and most likely I'll put some kind of collar or whatever around here to reinforce that area where you can, so it won't just be a butt weld. So that's what I'm thinking right now. It may change, but stay tuned. We'll have this thing fixed. And I set up this fixture so I have a place so that when I cut this, I'm going to cut it right here I believe somewhere in here. I'm going to cut this so that when I go to weld this back together, I'll have a place where that locks in exactly where it needs to be so that I get the right orientation. Otherwise, I don't know how I'm going to get everything lined up exactly right. So I still need to put a piece of something here to keep this from rotating in that direction. So I grind something, put a block there, and then I'm going to tack weld these angles in so I don't have to rely on these clamps. Okay, the fixture's all done. I put a piece of angle here, a short piece of angle here, and then I put a strap of metal here. That's going to keep this from rotating, so when I make my new piece, I'll be able to stick everything in, lock it in. This piece down here is going to keep it from rotating. This is going to keep it against there, and that's to keep it there. To make the replacement rod for the axle, I made an attachment for my shop press, and using parts that I had laying around and just basically modified it slightly. And to make the bend, I set the bend mark to about 5.5 inches from the edge. The inside radius of what that bolt is 3/4 inch diameter. So that's what I'm going to be making them bend around to give me. Once I start making the bend, I'll get pretty close to where I think the angle should be. I'm not putting any gauges or anything on there. I'm just going to do a test, bend so far, take it out of the fixture, out of the bending fixture, and then put it against my welding fixture and verify the angle is correct. Okay, I got this piece. It's all cut to what length I wanted. In the fixture locked in. So I'll just cut this to that length. And then when I get that length, then I'll come back and then we'll trim it. I'm going to unclamp this real quick and show you how I made a collar out of a piece of 3/4 inch pipe, and I just cut slits in it, opened it up, and then I cut a kind of a beveled edge on it so that it could slide it back so I could fit this into the fixture and put this piece in also and get it welded together. So that gives me enough room here to do my welding and maybe some clean up the grinding, and then this piece is going to slide back over top this area here and get welded where it gets clamped down or crimped down so it's flush and tight, and then weld that, and that gives me a lot of extra support. Okay, well, I got this down to where this rod is welded to the other rod for the steer axle, and then I kept this collar out of the way because I still have to make the washer here and install the washer that goes here. So we're going to make this washer first and install it, then we'll bring this back because the fixture is going to help us locate where this washer needs to be because I left that angle iron right at the edge. So let's go to work and make this flat washer I need to make. So I have some 1/4 inch stock that I'm going to use. So let's go over to the milling machine. That's where we're going to cut this washer. Kind of picked an area where I'm going to be drilling, and I need to clamp this. First I'll need to clamp this piece down to where it's going to be drilling. I have the hole. The drill's going to go in the T-slot, so if it goes too far through, it'll hit the T-slot and not hit the table. Put it right here. It's going to be a good spot for it. That should be out of the way. The clamp should be out of the way at the drill operation. So the first hole, I'm going to be making the 3/4 inch diameter hole. Let's start with the smallest step of this drill. I'm just randomly picked some bits that I had laying around. No particular rhyme or reason why I picked them. Okay. No, smell that cutting fluid. Okay, this is the final one. This is 3/4 of an inch. This will give me the ID that I want on the washer. A little bit of lubricant on there, cutting fluid. Okay, we are going to slow the machine down to the lowest RPMs because we're going to be cutting with this hole saw next. So we don't want to be speeding through there. It chatters and makes all kinds of noise. So I want to slow the RPMs down. I think I looked at the chart. It's 140 RPMs is what it's going to be when we start this next cut. That OD, that washer just looks too small. We're going to know here in a minute. I think we're through. Yes, we're through. Got the washer, it's all finished. So now we're going to just put it on the axle and get everything back in the fixture. And so I made this angle so that it is at the end and square with the axle. So this is going to be the stop for where the bushing is going to go against this washer. So get this exactly where it needs to be, and then I'm going to fully weld this washer in, and then I'll come back and I'll pull this bushing back and clamp it on nice and tight and get it welded. Washer is all welded on, so now I have a clamp holding this collar so I can do some welding on it to get it to stay where it needs to be. It's about halfway in between the pieces of rod. Basically, I centered this collar over the weld. It's basically what I did. So I'm going to try to tack it here and then maybe over here somewhere, and try not to get too much weld on my chain. It's definitely not pretty welds, as you can see, but I think it's going to hold together. I know enough about welding to know that's bad welds, but I think it's going to hold. So now we need to go to work and get this thing cut to length and drill the hole. I'm going to just let it air cool a little bit. I'm going to go get something to drink after this work. To finish doing this part, basically it's the last couple steps. We're going to have to cut that stub of the axle that we welded on. So we're going to have to cut that at 3.5 inches long from the back edge of that washer that we made, and then the hole for the cotter pin is going to be 3.25 inches back from there, and the bit that I selected was 11/64. That fits in this hole fairly good, so that's the hole I'm going to put in for the cotter pin. So let's go to work and get this finished up. It's the last machining operation, so I'm going to line this pointer up to where I want the hole to be. So I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to kind of lock this quill in so I can get some dimensions. So that should lock it in. So we want it to be in the center. So I'm reading between these jaws to be 1 inch. So I need to slide at least down that way a little ways to get my 1/2 inch to get to the center. And then I want it to come back this way, 3.25. So I'm almost right there right now. That's 3.25 from this face of the washer. Now we're tightening this down. Use the wrench to tighten it down tight. Make sure that's tight. Replace the pointer with a drill bit. Chuck it in. A little bit of cutting fluid on the bit. And we're ready to drill. Like I said, this is going to be our last machining step. Put a little bit of paint on it, make it look a little bit more presentable. Take this out. Don't need to drill through my backstop. Okay, we're through. Machining is done. A little bit of paint on it, just to make it look a little better. Ready to be put back on. So, just gonna slide this back up into its original hole, or attempt to. Get that out of the way. Put this bushing back up on there. Line that up best I can. 1/2 inch wrench and socket. Use my toe to hold it up. Turn the socket so it's tightened with a ratchet, so it's doing tightening. This inner bushing was already super loose, so I just take it, put it off the side. Now to get this outer bushing, I got a little drift punch. This one may be difficult to take out. Let's take a drift punch, go around a little bit. It's out. Take that one off the side. Finish cleaning this up. This is kind of where we started at the beginning here. We were just going to replace these bushings, and I was going to make it a real quick, easy video. But it didn't turn out that way, so I'm just going to set that on there and just hope I can try to get flat. I may need to let me go get something flat to put on there. Just use one of these metal discs that I had laying around. That'll give it something to make sure that you can see that. Still got a ways to go. Almost there. This side view look. Just needs just a little tiny bit more. Figure rawhide mallet would be plenty enough. I didn't want. That's all we on now. So put the other one with the grease fitting on it. This goes to the inside of the wheel. This one's going on a lot easier. Before I put that on, I'm going to give it a little start of some grease. I'll grease it once I get it all together too, but I'll just put a little bit of grease on everything so at least I know I have something on there. Okay. Start with a flat washer. Put this on with the Zerk fitting to the inside. Slide that in. Should have another washer. And the cotter pin they gave with the kit was considerably smaller than the one that came with the mower, so I'm just going to attempt to reuse this one. I think I can get it back in there. If I can find out where the hole for the cotter pin is. It's best to buy new ones every time because you don't get that little ear is sticking up. That should push it down. So it goes back in. It's flared out just a little bit. I'm going to turn this to me. There. Just use a Then I got to turn it 90 degrees so it's not hitting the washer. There, it goes on good now. Roll this up. That cap's going to have to go on there, so these are going to have to be pulled all the way around or the cap's not going to work. I'm hoping. Let me get the cap. Cap's been sitting in the sun, getting warm. So let me get that. Okay, cap's on. The thing I got to do is put some grease. Move the camera over here. And then while we're here, we'll get this circ here for the steering. I can see it's coming out. I'll run it a little bit and then put some new grease in again. As far as putting the bushings on the other side, I'm not going to show that. It's basically the same thing. But remember what it was before. Let me move the camera this way. Now, there's like no play. Well, another project's done. This is all complete. The other side, the bushings and the axle shaft weren't too bad, but I replaced the bushings. The shaft is going to be good, so I don't have to rebuild that shaft, which is a good thing. So it was going to be a simple project, just replacing the bushings, I thought, but once I got into it, I found out there's a little bit more work. So now that's done. So whew, it's a warm day today, sweating kind of bad. I hope that you enjoyed my video. I hope that you maybe learned something. Definitely not seeing my welds. I'm not a very good welder. Never did take sweating pretty bad. Never was a good welder, but I can fab up things pretty good. But hey, if you like this channel, subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Leave me comments. Let me know what you think. It was sad that I couldn't find that part, that it was discontinued from the manufacturer, but that's how it goes. So that's why I did a video to show other people if they have the same model Cub or if they have a garden tractor or a tractor that they want to keep around but they can't get parts for it no more. Well, you know how to rebuild the steer axle on a garden tractor. Thanks for watching.